There's a can sitting on a shelf right now, probably within 20 feet of where most Americans shop every week, that has quietly outlasted 3 recessions, 2 pandemics, and a supply chain collapse that wiped out entire product categories overnight. It costs less than $2. It contains more usable protein per dollar than almost anything in the store. And when I tell you which one it is at number 1, you're going to walk into your pantry tonight and realize you have maybe 2 of them. Maybe none. That's number 1. We'll get there, because before we reach it, there are 13 other cans that smart families, the ones who read the labels, watch the wholesale prices, and pay attention to what distributors are quietly pulling from shelves, are already stacking in cool, dark corners of their homes. And the closer we get to number 1, the harder this list gets to ignore. Here's what's actually happening in 2026 that most grocery shoppers still haven't connected. Canned food prices have climbed over 34% since 2021, according to Bureau of Labor Statistics tracking. Tin plate tariffs have squeezed domestic canners into consolidating product lines, and 3 of the largest distributors in North America have publicly reduced their slow-mover SKUs by nearly 18% this year alone. Translation: the cans you assume will always be there are quietly disappearing, one facing at a time, 14 specific items, each chosen for a concrete reason: shelf stability measured in decades, nutrient density verified by USDA data, price per calorie ratios that make fresh food look absurd, or a role in emergency nutrition so specific that FEMA's own preparedness documents call them out by name. And the closer we get to number 1, the harder this gets to ignore. Number 14, canned sweet corn. Most people treat corn as filler. That assumption is costing them one of the most efficient calorie sources in the entire canned aisle. A standard 15-ounce can of sweet corn delivers roughly 360 calories, 9 grams of fiber, and measurable amounts of lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 compounds that Harvard's Th. Chan School of Public Health has linked directly to long-term eye health and cognitive resilience in aging populations. Industrial canning actually increases the bioavailability of these compounds, meaning the canned version outperforms fresh in specific nutritional categories. Shelf life on properly stored canned corn regularly exceeds 5 years past the printed date when kept below 75 Fahrenheit. Here's the delayed truth. Corn earned this spot not because it's exciting, but because it's the quiet workhorse. It stretches soups, thickens stews, adds sweetness to bland rice, and delivers calories when your body needs fuel more than flavor. Grab 6 cans of a low-sodium brand like Del Monte, no salt added, or the store brand equivalent. Store them on a low shelf in a pantry or basement corner where temperature stays consistent. That's it. Hold this one in mind. At number 7. It connects to something most people completely miss about the way canned foods actually get used in a real crisis. Number 13. Canned carrots. Nobody buys canned carrots. That's exactly why you should. Because canned carrots aren't a fresh substitute. They're a different food entirely. The heat process breaks down cellulose walls, releasing up to 40% more absorbable beta-carotene than raw carrots, according to a 2018 study in the Journal of Agricultural and Food Chemistry. A single can provide over 400% of the daily vitamin A requirement for an adult. Shelf life? 4 to 5 years reliably. Longer if the can stays sealed and cool. The delayed reveal. Canned carrots are one of the only vegetables where the canning process makes them nutritionally superior. That's not marketing. That's food chemistry. Buy 4 cans of sliced carrots. Slice stores better than whole and rehydrates faster in soups. Rotate them into rice dishes, stews, or even mashed carrot side dishes when fresh produce prices spike in winter. The next one involves a price gap between canned and fresh that's genuinely hard to justify, and it explains why food banks stockpile it in bulk. Number 12. Canned green beans. Nutritionists roll their eyes at canned green beans. Emergency planners don't. There's a reason. A 14.5-ounce can of green beans delivers 6 grams of fiber, meaningful vitamin K, folate, and manganese for often under 125s per can. The USDA's own food storage guidance lists green beans among the top 10 vegetables for long-term storage because of their pH stability and low failure rate in home pantries. Botulism risk in commercially canned green beans is statistically near zero, under 1 case per hundreds of millions of units per CDC surveillance data. The reveal here is boring in the best possible way. Green beans are dependable. They don't spike blood sugar, they don't spoil in 3 years, and they blend into almost any cuisine without complaint. Stacker 8 cans. Pair them with garlic powder, olive oil, and a hard cheese, and you have a side dish that feels like real food, even in month 6 of a supply squeeze. Picture week 3 of living entirely on what's in your pantry right now. That's the mental frame you need for the next item. Number 11. Canned diced tomatoes. Take diced tomatoes out of the American kitchen and half of home cooking collapses. That's not hyperbole. The Culinary Institute of America identifies canned tomatoes as one of the 5 load-bearing pantry items across Italian, Mexican, Indian, Middle Eastern, and American Southern cooking. A single 28-ounce can contain roughly 17 milligrams of lycopene, a carotenoid that Johns Hopkins researchers have linked to reduced cardiovascular inflammation. And lycopene, uniquely, becomes more bioavailable through the canning process, not less. The hidden truth: canned tomatoes are the single most versatile morale item in a long-term pantry. Because when everything tastes bland and stretched, tomatoes rebuild flavor architecture. Buy 12 cans, mix whole peeled, diced, and crushed. Store them upright, below 70 Fahrenheit. Look for cans lined with non-BPA epoxy. Brands like Muir Glen and Bianco di Napoli publish their liner specifications directly on the label. This next one will challenge an assumption you've probably had for years about what healthy canned food actually looks like. Number 10. Canned sardines. The most nutritionally dense protein in the entire grocery store fits in a container smaller than your palm. And most Americans refuse to touch it. A single 3.75-ounce can of sardines in olive oil provides 22 grams of complete protein, over 350 milligrams of calcium. Because you eat the softened bones, nearly 2 full days of vitamin B12, and around 1.0 milligrams of long-chain omega-3 fatty acids. The Harvard School of Public Health has repeatedly ranked sardines as one of the top 3 highest nutrient per dollar foods available at retail scale. Shelf life on olive oil-packed sardines routinely exceeds 5 years, and unlike tuna, sardines are low on the food chain, meaning mercury levels are among the lowest of any commercially available fish. The reveal: sardines aren't a survival food. They're a longevity food that also happens to be a survival food. Blue zone populations in Sardinia and Okinawa both feature small oily fish as dietary anchors. Get 6 tins. King Oscar, Wild Planet, or Seasoned Bristling, all high quality, all shelf-stable for years. Eat 1 can a week on crackers with lemon and black pepper. Your body notices within a month. We've been talking about survival. This next one is about something different: morale. Number 9. Canned peaches in 100% juice. Asterisk, there's a specific moment in every extended food shortage, documented in FEMA after-action reports from Hurricane Katrina, Sandy, and the 2021 Texas grid failure, when families crack under the weight of eating the same beige, salty, textureless meals day after day. The intervention that repeatedly shows up in those reports: fruit. Specifically, sweet cold canned fruit. Canned peaches in 100% juice, not heavy syrup, retain roughly 80% of the vitamin C of fresh peaches and provide meaningful potassium and fiber. Shelf life is conservatively 4 years, often longer. The average cost per serving sits around $0.60 in 2026 pricing, compared to over $2.20 for fresh peaches out of season. The dilated truth: canned peaches are on this list not for calories or protein, but for psychological continuity. They taste like a normal Sunday. And in a stretched pantry that matters more than nutrition math, buy 8 cans. Store them lower and cooler than everything else. Heat accelerates flavor breakdown in fruit specifically. Serve chilled straight from the can when morale is low. Take a breath here. We're at the halfway point. Everything from here forward carries significantly more weight. The first 6 items were foundations. The next 8 are strategic. They're the ones that convert a pantry from "we have some food" into "we have a system." And the number 1 item I've been building toward? Here's one new detail I didn't give you at the start. It's an item that food scientists have documented lasting, in some verified cases, over 100 years without spoilage. 100 years. On a normal pantry shelf. Keep that in mind. Let's continue. Number 8. Canned chickpeas. The single most underestimated protein in American pantries costs less per gram than almost any animal source. A 15-ounce can of chickpeas provides 14 grams of plant protein, 12 grams of fiber, meaningful iron, folate, and manganese, and holds up structurally in soups, salads, stews, and blended into hummus. A 2019 meta-analysis in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition linked regular legume consumption to a 69% reduction in all-cause mortality risk. Shelf life on canned chickpeas ranges from 3 to 5 years reliably, with some documented cases of edibility well past a decade. The hidden truth: chickpeas are the bridge food. When meat runs out or gets rationed by price, chickpeas keep your protein intake flat instead of collapsing. Grab 10 cans. Look for BPA-free liners. Eden Organic is the retail standard. Rinse before use to cut sodium by roughly 40%. The next one is one of the highest calorie items you can buy per dollar in the entire store, and almost no one thinks to stockpile it. Number 7. Canned coconut milk. Fat is the most expensive macronutrient to source in a food shortage. Canned coconut milk quietly solves that problem, a single 13. 5-ounce can of full-fat coconut milk contains roughly 800 calories, most of which come from medium-chain triglycerides. A fat type that Cleveland Clinic researchers note is metabolized more efficiently than long-chain fats and provides sustained energy without blood sugar spikes. It's shelf-stable for 3 to 4 years, works in curries, soups, oatmeal, coffee, and rice, and adds richness that transforms bland pantry staples into actual meals. The reveal: coconut milk is the calorie multiplier. In lean weeks, a splash of it turns a cup of rice and beans from grim survival into something you'd actually eat twice. 6 cans. Full fat, not light. Thai Kitchen, Native Forest, or ROID are the reliable brands. Shake well before opening. Separation is normal, not spoilage. Remember I told you at number 14 that corn connects to something people miss? Here it is. Corn plus coconut milk plus beans forms a complete amino acid profile. A full protein equivalent, at under $3 per meal. That's the kind of math that changes how you shop. The next one is on almost every emergency food list ever written, and yet the specific version I'm about to name is the one that actually matters. Number 6. Canned black beans. Asterisk, the generic phrase canned beans hides a nutritional gap most people don't realize exists. Black beans specifically outperform pinto, kidney, and navy beans in antioxidant density, according to a USDA Agricultural Research Service study that measured anthocyanin content across common legume varieties. A single 15-ounce can deliver 15 grams of protein, 15 grams of fiber, and roughly 30% of daily iron needs. Shelf life ranges from 3 to 5 years, often longer in cool storage. The delayed truth: black beans are the highest return legume on the shelf. Same price as other beans, more nutrients, more versatility across cuisines from Cuban to Southwestern to South Indian. Stacker, 12 cans. Look for low-sodium versions and rinse before use. Pair with rice for a complete protein at roughly $0. 80 per serving. This next one will challenge an assumption you've probably had for years about what belongs in a serious pantry. Number 5. Canned pumpkin. 100% pumpkin, not pie filling. Once a year, Americans buy pumpkin. The other 11 months, it sits ignored, and that's a $2 mistake with real consequences. Pure canned pumpkin, the Libby's-style single-ingredient version, is one of the most nutrient-dense vegetables available shelf-stable. A single cup provides over 200% of daily vitamin A, meaningful potassium, fiber, and beta-carotene that Johns Hopkins research links to immune function and skin repair. It's also extraordinarily low-calorie relative to volume, about 80 calories per cup, which makes it a rare, filling but light pantry option. Shelf life reliably hits 4 to 5 years. The reveal: pumpkin isn't seasonal. It's strategic. It thickens soups, extends oatmeal, blends into pancakes and muffins, and provides vitamins that most canned vegetables can't match. Buy 6 cans. Store them cool. And if you want a 5-second tip that changes weeknight cooking, stir half a cup into any tomato-based pasta sauce. It adds sweetness, thickness, and nutrition without changing the flavor profile. One thing before we reach the top 4, something most channels covering this topic will never say directly. Here's the meta-insight that reframes this entire list. Most stockpiling advice treats canned food as a monolithic category. Buy cans, be safe. That's wrong. A real pantry has 3 layers: asterisk calorie base, asterisk nutrient bridge, and asterisk morale anchor. Miss any one of those 3, and your pantry fails within 30 days of actual use, not because you run out of food, but because you run out of the right kind of food. Everything you've heard so far fits into one of those 3 layers. Everything from here forward is a layer you probably haven't been thinking about at all. Let's finish. Number 4, canned chicken. Asterisk, the protein most preppers overlook is the same one hospital cafeterias and military field kitchens have used for decades. Canned chicken, the plain, water-packed variety, delivers 20 to 22 grams of complete animal protein per 5-ounce can, at roughly half the cost of fresh chicken breast on a per-gram protein basis. Shelf life on quality canned chicken from Kirkland, Swanson, or Valley Fresh runs 3 to 5 years, with USDA testing showing protein integrity remaining stable well past the printed date. It requires 0 preparation, no thawing, no cooking, no fuel. The hidden truth: canned chicken is the fastest complete protein deployment in any emergency. 10 minutes from can to sandwich, salad, soup, or wrap, 8 cans. Kirkland's White Premium is the retail benchmark for value. Store in a cool, dark spot and rotate 1 can into a weekly meal to stay familiar with how it cooks. This one and number 1 together form the most efficient protein combination on this entire list. Number 3, canned salmon. The wild-caught, bone-in, skin-on version of a fish that cost $18 a pound fresh is available in a can for around $3, and it's arguably nutritionally superior. Wild Alaskan canned salmon. Brands like Wild Planet, Bumblebee Wild Selections, or Kirkland contains 20+ grams of protein, over 5,500 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids per serving, and, because the bones are soft and edible, nearly 20% of daily calcium needs. The FDA classifies canned wild salmon as one of the safest fish choices for regular consumption due to its low mercury profile. Shelf life is 5 years plus, often extending to 7 under cool storage. The delayed reveal: canned salmon is one of the only foods on this list that is simultaneously an emergency staple, a longevity food, and a legitimately delicious meal. Very few items check all 3 boxes, 6 cans. Wild-caught only. Farm doesn't carry the same omega-3 profile. Mix into pasta, salads, or eat straight with crackers, lemon, and pepper. The next one and number 1 together form the backbone of every serious long-term pantry ever documented in academic food security literature. Number 2, canned refried beans, or whole pinto beans. Asterisk, the most calorie-dense, protein-rich, shelf-stable, cheapest complete meal component in the American grocery store is a can that costs under $1.50. A 16-ounce can of refried pinto beans provides roughly 400 calories, 25 grams of protein, 20 grams of fiber, and meaningful iron, folate, magnesium, and potassium. On a cost-per-calorie basis, canned beans consistently outperform rice, pasta, bread, and every animal protein in every market survey conducted by the USDA Economic Research Service since 2015. Shelf life ranges from 4 to 6 years reliably. The truth: Refried beans are the single most efficient bulk pantry item in existence. They're a full meal in a can. Warm them, add hot sauce and a tortilla, and you've fed an adult for under $2, 12 cans. Rosarita, Old El Paso, or store brand, the nutritional profiles are nearly identical. Buy vegetarian versions to avoid the lard some brands still use. Now, the one I've been building toward. Number 1. Canned tuna in olive oil. The number 1 item is canned tuna in olive oil, and here's why it beats every other item on this list. Remember the hook, a can under $2. More usable protein per dollar than almost anything in the store. Sitting on shelves right now within 20 feet of where most Americans shop. That's canned tuna in olive oil. A single 5-ounce can of tuna in olive oil delivers 20 to 25 grams of complete animal protein, meaningful omega-3s, vitamin D, selenium and B12, for roughly $1.80 in 2026 retail pricing. That's under 8 cents per gram of protein, a ratio unmatched by any fresh, frozen or dry protein source in the American grocery store. And here's the specific detail I promised at the midpoint. Canned tuna, when stored properly in cool, dry conditions, has been documented lasting in edible condition for decades. In 2016, food scientists at the U.S. Army Natick Soldier Research Center analyzed canned tuna from World War II-era military rations, over 70 years old, and found the protein content, while degraded in texture, remained microbiologically safe and nutritionally intact. Other documented cases pushed toward the century mark. That's the reveal. Canned tuna isn't just food. It's a time capsule with 25 grams of protein inside it. 15 cans minimum. Olive oil packed, not water packed. The oil preserves omega-3s, adds calories, and extends shelf life. Genova, Tonino, or Wild Planet are the top-tier options. Store below 75 Fahrenheit in a dark space. Rotate one can into your weekly meals, so it stays part of your normal eating, not a stranger in your cupboard. And here's the final connection. Canned tuna plus canned chicken from number 4 covers your complete animal protein needs indefinitely. Add canned salmon from number 3, and you have a rotating 3-protein system that outperforms most fresh protein diets on nutritional density, cost, and shelf life. Combined, 14 cans, 3 layers, calorie base, nutrient bridge, morale anchor. Every item on this list earned its position because it does something specific that the item next to it on the shelf does not. The families who understand this aren't stockpiling out of fear. They're stockpiling out of arithmetic. When canned food inflation runs 34% over 5 years, when SKUs quietly disappear, when tariffs squeeze domestic canners into consolidating, the smart move isn't panic. It's a slow, deliberate accumulation of the specific 14 cans that do the most work per dollar and per shelf inch. Start with tuna, add refried beans, then salmon, then chicken, then the vegetables and the fruit and the coconut milk that turn the whole system from food storage into an actual kitchen. Build the kind of pantry that means your family has options. Not just calories, but choices. Regardless of what the next 12 months look like, one question worth sitting with tonight. If the shelves at your local store look different next Tuesday than they did last Tuesday, would you notice in time to act? Or would you be one of the families who realizes it 3 weeks too late? The cans are still there tonight, 14 of them. You know which ones.
This video is only for the educational and information purpose. All the content used in this video is uh, real and authentic and can be changed anytime. The tools and other things that's being used in this video are totally safe and according to the manufacturer policy. Thank you so much.